Hello there, Inspired Tenno. There is a Aya farming craze going on right now, where a lot of players, myself including, are farming out the game to find the most efficient way to get Aya. Unfortunately, not everyone is equally honest about their findings, and today I'm going to debunk some of the most egregious example of people lying about their findings. Our first example is a small YouTuber called ProbiasHD. Larger than I, but still a small YouTuber. He makes the claim that you can make 1 Aya per minute. Let's look at what that would actually look like.
Your first mission could be the capture mission, the next one could be free the assassin, and then you have 2 really quick missions back to back. You can set it up that way. That takes a little bit of time to get 2 really quick missions in a row, but you can.
What Probias is talking about here is a technique which, as far as I can tell, he has discovered, at least he has named it bounty looping. And what you do here is that essentially you set it up so that you will get, in the same bounty, you will get the same missions in the same order. And the way you do this is that when you complete a mission in a bounty, then that will be set as that mission for that bounty step. So if you get a mission that you don't like, you just abort the mission and start it over again until you get something that you want in that slot. Now let's look at how fast you would actually have to do this, how fast this technique would have to be in order to make 1 Aya a minute. Now, Probias actually slips up in his video and says that it takes him 3 minutes to complete these 3 subsequent missions in the bounty, which obviously means that you're not doing it in 1 minute. But anyways, so let's go and look at these numbers. So first up, here we have this here, and this is a actual bounty that I've tested. This is part of my ultimate guide, which is available on my channel, and the entire spreadsheet with all of the bounties are available from there. So we will use this as our, let's say, case study, so that we can look at how ridiculous these other results actually are. Now, if we look at this over here and we say that we can complete it in 3 minutes, just for fun, right? We get a 13.2, and obviously this is a dishonest number because there is a opportunity cost in this, because you have to, first off, you have to go into CTES and you have to do the 40-60 mission just to load in and be able to check if the bounty that you need to do this whole bounty looping setup is available. Then you have to do the entire setup, and the time that you're spending on this is time that you're not spending just farming Aya normally. So if you can actually do it in 3 minutes with a 66% chance, then it is ever so slightly faster than brute force, but of course you're missing out on all of the mother tokens, most of the endo, and all of the Aya stars, so that's not quite better. Now here we have a 60 hourly reward, and I don't know how that's possible, but we've just input 60 into this here, and then we've done the calculation backwards instead. So this is 60 minutes divided by 60 Aya, which is 1 minute, 1 Aya, but we have a drop chance of only 66, so we have to multiply by that to get this number, which is 0.66 or 40 seconds. What this means is that in order to get 1 Aya a minute, which would be 60 an hour, you have to be able to reload the bounty, go through all of the dialogue, and complete all 3 missions in 40 seconds, which is clearly impossible. And if you don't think that this is impossible, I challenge you to go into a mission, a bounty on the Plains of Eidolon, and with this method get anywhere near 60. You know, I would be astonished if you could conjure up more than 20.
What followed shocked me. In this bounty stage, there are 3 fast missions that commonly appear: capture the target, free the prisoner, and assassinate the target. Since we are playing on a higher level in the assassinate mission, instead of having to kill 20 enemies, you only have to kill 15. All 3 can be done in about a minute. I was able to get insanely quick loops with very minimal work, to the point that it became faster than the ghoul.
On the 20th of November, Probias uploaded another video. Now he claims that you can get 2 Aya in a minute, which you know, maybe you can get 2 IR in a minute, but can you get 2 IR per minute? No, you cannot. And this is where I got you. Same calculation over here, except now it is, you know, 2 IR per hour, which is, I mean, okay, if we really want to be strict about it, here you go. Wait, no, that doesn't, wait, there we go, okay. So, in order to pull this off with this amount of, you know, chance, you would have to do it in less than 20 seconds. And I'm gonna explain something to you right now. When you abandon a bounty, not only do you have to go to the next bounty step and then teleport back to the hut where you will activate the next mission, you will have to wait, between those 2 steps, you will have to wait 20 seconds. Which means that, assuming that 0 gameplay input has to happen, then the quickest that you could do this, theoretically only, is 20 seconds. So how are you doing it even faster than that? Doesn't make any sense. So again, the fucking promise here is that you will get 120 an hour, which is 10 times as much as what is possible. I know that if you get really lucky with the bounties on Fortuna, then you can get about 20 an hour, but still, well, at least 5 times as much then. And unfortunately, this video has a lot of views. Last time I checked, it had 15,000 views, which means that it's siphoning views away from the actual guides, which will actually explain how to do this. And because of this, there are many players who will be disappointed with their results and probably blame themselves when it was never even possible to get this amount to begin with. By the way, I love to be proven wrong, because that means that I've learned something new. So Probias, what I want you to do for me, if you'd be so kind, is to go ahead and upload a video. It has to be an hour long and it must be uncut. You can start from wherever you want, you can do all the setup that you'd like, and I would just like you to get somewhere close to these results, which you promise are possible. Thank you. Next up, we have another small YouTuber. You might have heard of him though. It's Grind Hard Squad.
12 minutes, 15 minutes, or even 10 minutes to get 3 to 5 AE isn't that bad at all, but like I have said, it is based on luck, so don't think that you will get the same AE as I have while running the tier 5 bounties.
No, you shouldn't expect to get the same results, because he didn't get those results. And if you think that he did, then you also think that Dream didn't fake his speedrun. Let's go ahead and just look at some percentages and some chance, and then you can decide for yourself if you think that it's likely that he actually were able to perform this. Alright, so here, first up, what is the odds? So what we're looking at here is the amount of successes, that's M. So this is getting 3 IR from a bounty. And the amount of tries that you have to get it is 5, because you have 5 opportunities to get an IR in a bounty on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and bonus. So that's 5. Then we have a probability of 33, and it's actually less than this, but I'm too lazy to calculate the actual probability. This is just assuming that you have a 33% on each step, which is not true. You have a higher percentage on some of them and lower on the others. But this is, you know, as you will see, the numbers that we're going to get in a moment is so ridiculous that this discrepancy doesn't mean anything. So the odds of getting, just running 1 bounty and getting 3 IR is 20%. So that's pretty reasonable. I would believe that. What's the likelihood of getting 4? Oh, it's only 4%. What's the odds of getting 5? Oh, it's not even 0.5% of getting 5. Oh yeah, weird. Now, let's go with 4, because that's the average. He says he gets between 3 and 5, and the average of that is obviously 4. So let's say that we do 4 bounties, which is 20 tries. And then obviously if we get 4 each time, then we would get 16. And it's 0. Let's go back. Let's go ahead and give him benefit of the doubt. And let's just assume that it's 3, which is the lower end of his estimate. And let's just say that we run again for bounties. So that's 20 and it's 12 Aya. So it's a 1% chance of running for bounties and getting at least 3 Aya each time. Well, let's say that he run a relatively small amount of bounties and that he has only completed, let's say, 10 bounties. So that's 50 tries and that's 30 Aya. And remember, we are on the lower end of his estimate. So do you really think that he were able to pull off those results? Really? No, of course not. On average, you will get about slightly more than 1.5 Aya per bounty. This is the level 40 to 60. Don't let anyone tell you that you get more than this. Every time I've watched YouTubers talk about this, it's always been slightly exaggerated. Popska said he got 2 to 3. That's not true. You get 1 to 2, not 2 to 3, and certainly not 3 to 5. Finally, we have one more guy to call out. And it is not someone who I expected that I would have to call out when I started making this video. It's TheKengineer, who is known in the Warframe community for running his numbers very accurately. So I'm not sure what happened here, but let's just go ahead and take a look at what he has to say, and then I'll explain why I'm so confused by the numbers that he presents.
You can skip the really complicated stuff. It's just not a good enough rate. The capture missions, Hepit and Ukko, are 4 and 5 Aya per hour each, assuming you're being pretty fast. So that's the minimum we're looking for with the open world missions. In the Orb Valis, only one bounty keeps up with this rate, the Tier 3 bounty. It has a 12.5% drop rate on stage 2 and 3, with a 25% drop rate on stage 4. If you get all of the bonus objectives, you get 2 rolls on stage 4. So this means a Tier 3 bounty will give roughly 1 Aya every 2 runs, or 1.5 Aya every 2 runs if you're able to get all bonus objectives. With the completion time I got for that bounty, this comes out to around 4 to 5 Aya per hour. The other tiers just don't have the speed to be worth it, despite having some of the highest per reward rates in the game. As for the Cambion Drift, none of the missions are fast enough to compete, but they do get close. Most of the Cambion Drift bounties clock in at around 3 to 4 Aya per hour, and for the Endless bounty, it's around 3 to 4 per hour on the right rotation, but around 1.5 Aya per hour on the wrong rotation. As for the Plains of Eidolon, it varies. Tier 1 gives no Aya, Tier 2 gives very little Aya, and Tier 4 gives even less Aya, so those ones should all be skipped. However, the Tier 3 and 5 bounties do have competitive rates, around 4 to 5 Aya per hour. The Tier 3 Ostrom bounties have, again, different drop rates, similar to the Cambion Drift, but the differences are much less significant, only varying from 4.5 to 5 Aya per hour. This is assuming you complete all the bonus objectives on half of all runs. As for the Tier 5 bounty, it's a little bit slower to run, and it comes out to a little bit lower rate of Aya compared to the Tier 3.
Okay, there is a lot to unpack here, but let's just go ahead and look at the spreadsheet of my calculations and then try and compare them to what he just said, and I'll just try and demonstrate the discrepancy that I'm noticing here. So let's just go ahead and take a look. So he said that the rate for Ukko and Hepit was about 4 and 5, and I have seen people do it in 1 minute. It is nauseating, and you can do it with Titania, so let's just accept that. So I do actually agree with those rates. Where I'm confused is where he gets this like 3 to 4 or 5 Aya per hour on these bounties from, because even when doing extremely poorly here, the worst bounty on Fortuna, the one that I had the worst results with, I still got 8.3 hourly. This is with rewards, all of these, by the way. And if I can't get a reward, then I'll just dump the bounty, I don't even care. Worst one is 9.1 on Cetus, and the worst one on Deimos is 8.2. That's still a huge step up from his 4 to 5 per hour, and you'd have to go out of your way to pick the worst bounty every time in order to get these results. Generally speaking, I find that it is possible to run brute force more or less every time, and if not, then salvage has always been available to me. So he doesn't really make his calculations available to us. You have to be a Patreon in order to actually see those. But I guess that what I'll do in the spirit of fairness is that I will, hopefully before this video come out, I will go ahead and I'll do a live stream where I just play my favorite bounty for an hour, and then we'll check out the results at the end. And I think that you'll see that they very closely mimic these results that I've gotten here as they come from actual testing. And I guess that's everything. Just don't believe anything, I guess. Unfortunately, there is so much fake information out there right now about IF farming. Even my own ultimate guide has had a small mistake in it, where I overestimated the speed at which network collapse could be completed at. Unfortunately, when you select this from Fortuna, then you get a location where the spawn flags just does not cooperate on the kill the drones mission, and that knocks down the speed a lot. But that's nothing compared to some of the stuff that I've discussed today, and yeah, that's a lot of it. So go ahead and watch the live stream. Go ahead and get some actual data, and then you can make a decision for yourself what is real and what is not real. It is unfortunate that it has gotten to this, but I guess you're just gonna have to deal with all the fake news, right? That's how it goes in these days. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.